Come on live. Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Before we get to the tea, I am going to make sure that we are live everywhere that we are supposed to be. So I believe, okay. I see Instagram. It's
There we
looking
go.
good. I see both faces. Let me make sure that that is what it's supposed to be. It's showing on the screen that it's right. Let me make sure on the phone.
Yeah, I had to start mine on Instagram. It just started
Okay.
separately.
Come on, Instagram. Come on, technology. Still waiting.
Did you do it on your computer though?
I did. Yep.
Oh, you
I
did.
sure did. I did it on the computer. So I'm looking on Instagram on my desktop and it's correct. I'm not seeing the alert. Maybe Instagram is just a hater.
Well, it takes a second for it to become live.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's also not yet on mine either. So let me see. The joys of trying new technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
And we're going to be better for it. So that when we do our channel with our other guests, it's going to be amazing.
So your Instagram is now working. Let me see. Mine is not yet showing.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. That's weird that it's showing on my computer. It's showing on Instagram on my computer like yours. It could be the couple of seconds of delay. Give it
okay. So we'll get started because I don't want folks coming in and be like, what the hell is wrong with these old ladies who can't figure out how to use the internet. So we'll go ahead and get started. Worst case scenario, maybe we'll bring it back. But I see it on the desktop that we are live. Instagram land, if you could drop a comment, let us know who you are, where you are from, just to make sure that we are not reading this wrong. We are trying new technology. We are trying to bring our voices and our messages to as many people as possible at the same time. So again, if you are joining us on Instagram land, please let us know that you are here. You can see us, you can hear us, and everything is all good. But you're absolutely right. On the desktop, it's showing perfectly, but on my phone, it is not.
Yeah. So we'll just see. If anyone tuned in from my page, let me know in the comments, and hopefully it's working. Worst case scenario, we come at y'all again. Yeah,
Yep. But I do see some Chance Love says she's Kira from Boston, which means that she can hear us.
Okay, good.
So maybe the technology won't allow us to see ourselves live.
Maybe. But I could see when I went to I searched your name and I could see the live thing around your name. Mm-hmm. And then when I clicked it, it showed both of us and it said Chasing Yancy with my logo. So I would assume.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump in regardless. Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. My name is Alison Wellington, certified dating and relationship coach, and I primarily work with busy professional women to teach them how to attract and keep the partners that they deserve. I am here for my second episode of Fine Tune Friday. So I do a series of live streams throughout the week, but I like to save this very special Friday for an opportunity to talk a little bit outside of dating and relationships, specifically on how we can fine tune our lives. If it's around dating and relationships, if it's around fashion, if it's around fitness, if it's around finances, lots of F's, whatever it is, I'm going to be having guests on every Friday in the 12 Eastern hour to discuss it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone on to my esteemed guest so she can introduce herself.
Hello, and welcome. My name is Yancy. My page is Chasing Yancy because I am chasing the highest version of myself in Christ. And when I did this publicly, I said, I'm just not going to change it because I'm always trying to grow and improve and become the best. I am a dating coach for women. And my claim to fame is that I am backed by men. I've got a ton of men who follow me. It used to be 50%, but I've had an influx of women recently. But just teaching them how to become the best version of themselves. And ultimately, as an end result, they attract the type of man they want and hopefully live happily ever after.
I love that. Okay, so as we said, Fine Tune Fridays may not necessarily be around dating and relationships. And I know y'all follow us. Probably 160,000 of you guys or more follow us for that. But please note, we are not coaches who center men in our lives, right? We are coaches who center Christ. And we are coaches who center relationships, and that's relationships with ourselves, relationships with others, and also our romantic partners. And so everything that you'll see every time won't necessarily be about a man. And that's important. It's important that we talk about other areas of our lives. And very specifically, Yancy and I were talking in the DMs, and she and I were sharing our experiences of having fear and how we've tackled fear in our lives so that we can become better versions of ourselves professionally, romantically, holistically. And so I want to turn the microphone over to Yancy, and I want to hear a little bit more about your story on some of the fears that you've experienced, how you tackled them, why you tackled them, and essentially what's the end result.
Absolutely. So I've had a couple of fears. I would say the first major fear that I had was getting out. I don't want to be so dark, but getting out of my marriage. Um,
Mm,
what's wild is right before we were supposed to get married, a couple months before, my now ex-husband said, I don't think that we're a good fit. I don't think that we are aligned. But
mm,
baby Yancy at 23 was like, oh my God, there's nothing more embarrassing than calling off an engagement. I can't imagine. And
mm,
it was 12 years of hell for both of us because we were not aligned. And he was able to see that. He had 15 years on me, 14 and a half. So he could see, and he was not concerned with the things that you are in your 20s about, looking bad or whatever. So when I finally decided to do that, it was the scariest thing. As a woman of faith, I know what the Bible says about divorce. I was terrified about just the quote unquote shame of the stigma, that I felt was going to be the stigma of being divorced and then having two kids. But when I tell you, I don't want to say it was the best decision I ever made, but it was the right decision for me. It was
mm,
a decision for me because I had started to physically have effects from the mental health strain. And I try my best not to talk about him because it's not his story. But when you, as a woman specifically, and men can do it too, but as women, we are tied to our bodies. Our mind and bodies are tied. So when you are constantly under stress, your body keeps creating cortisol and cortisol and cortisol, and it's a very look into it. A lot of stuff can happen. So that was big. I know it was a little more detailed, but the other time I had was when I wanted to quit my job. I was in
mm,
corporate America, and this was becoming more and more obvious. This was my passion, and I famously was in the stairwell of my office one day, my company, and I was on a break, but I was in the stairwell, but I had to whisper because I didn't want my voice to echo. And they're like, "Are you whispering?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm in the stairwell, but I really had a live stream in my spirit. I wanted to get it out." And so my boss told me at one point, he's like, "You're gonna blow up one day and leave us." And I didn't think I would because I was so scared of
mm.
corporate America with insurance and all that stuff.
Right.
Finally got over that fear, did it. Best decision I ever made.
Mm.
And then my last, I don't know if you want me to tell my last one. You'll
Yeah.
probably this one. Okay. So my last, oh, there was another big fear. Sorry. Fear of leaving California. I'm a Cali
Mm,
girl, born and raised, love it. And I wasn't finding the type of love that I wanted there. And so
mm,
I know that dating is a numbers game. I'd had somebody put in my spirit, you need a Southern man. They are built different.
mm,
And I thought, gosh, could I deal with leaving Cali? The weather is impeccable. There's no place besides maybe Hawaii. My family and friends are here. But I said, you know what? I really want love. And I go after
mm,
what I want. So I changed my dating app and I toggled between Dallas and Atlanta, two cities that I loved and had visited often. And I found love, and I made the decision to leave everything behind. Like literally, I left a lot of my belongings behind, whatever fit in a U-Haul, and moved. Did not regret it. And then my last
mm,
decision was very recent. My last fear that I had to face was in deciding to level up. And somebody, a dear friend of mine,
mm,
named by Alison. She was talking about how she's not afraid to invest in herself. And, I wouldn't say afraid, but you invest in yourself. And I was like, oh my God. If I hope it's okay, I share that he said, you have a mentor.
yeah.
And so I decided I want to get a business mentor because I've been winging this, doing it on my own. I know that I have a great product, but there are things I don't know. And
Mhm,
found somebody that I have been following for years. His stuff has helped me revolutionize my business. And that's just a little stuff that I've learned from him. But when he told me his fee, it was about double my mortgage. And
mm,
I panicked. I literally was starting to sweat. I made jokes about it, but I was like, no, literally, and I practically threatened him. I'm like, if this doesn't work, I'm coming for you. He's laughing. He's like, no, it's going to be fine. And it was like, when I tell you sales went from here to here, it wasn't even like a gradual, it said, and I
mm,
thought, why? I'm doing the thing I tell my students, why? why do you wait until you are just like at the end of your rope almost?
Yeah. Yep.
I could have done this freaking 5 years ago, 10
Yep.
years ago. So that was my biggest fear recently. And I am so, so, so glad because everything has changed in my life. I mean, it was like night and day. It affects my kids, it affects my fiance, it affects everybody because
Yep.
of me finally having the cojones to pull the plug. So, or pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my 50 years and my 45 years. Those are the biggest ones I had to face.
Yeah. 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 I'm so glad that you shared this for a couple of reasons. Not that I'm fearless, but I don't have a lot of experiences where I was fearful and hesitated. My business coach, she actually tells me that I overinvest. Like she said, you use money as a way to solve your problems, thinking that money is the only solution, right? And then thinking that, oh, I paid my money, so everything is supposed to work, and not realizing that when you work with a coach, you think that the coach is going to do the work for you. It's very interesting because when you work with a coach, when you work with a mentor, you pay a significant fee. And there's a reason. The reason why you're paying so much is because whatever result that they promise or that they're going to bring for you, it's probably a small percentage in comparison to the win, right? So they're charging appropriately. But not only that, you have to put a significant price tag because people won't do the work. They won't do the.
Almost threw my shoe at the screen. Yes.
People won't do the work. When it's free, you don't respect it, right? I had consultations that were free. People do no call, no shows. You've been following me for years. I am in my baby's room. Y'all know that I am busy, right? And you like me, but it's free. So it's when I put a dollar amount on that consultation, though, folks gonna show up.
Yep.
Right. So I think that coaches get a bad rep, but we have to put a significant price tag because then you won't do the work.
Yes.
And then when you don't do the work, then it's, oh, this doesn't work versus I didn't do it. Right. And so the first, I think, slap in the face that I got with investing, because I'm an investor, I'm going to pay my money, was that, oh, wow, I thought it was like done for you. Right. So you pay and then it's just going to be magically done. And I didn't realize that once I got on my first call with my coach, she's telling me all the stuff I have to do. I'm like, damn, I'm paying you all this money and I still have to do all this work.
Yes.
That was a thing that really like opened up my eyes to, yes, I'm paying. Yes, I'm willing. I'm willing to take the leap. But damn, it's still so much more work to do thereafter.
Yeah. It's like the trainer, it's like paying a physical trainer. They have expertise. They can show you how to do the workout without hurting yourself, without hurting your back, without overextending, or you might be trying a crash diet on your own, but you're putting yourself in really bad health situations. So they're showing you how to eat clean, but they're not going to come and cook your food for you and put it in your mouth. They're not going to jump, do your box jumps and your push-ups. You still have to get in there. That expertise will pave the way and make you go 10 times further, but you still have to do the work. And it's like, I think people have to think of it as a collaboration. And I love you sharing your side of it. I am obsessed with doing it myself. I'm that white knuckles person. Mm-hmm. I will do it myself because I'm cheap. If I can admit that, I'm cheap. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I can do it myself, but it's going to take you 10 years, Yancy, to get there.
Yeah.
It's going to take me 10 years, but I'm going to figure it out. So I'm okay with doing that hard work. And I have a hard time letting go. It's like, they're like, hey, let me log into this and I have a hard time letting go. So what it was for me was, it was so funny. I'm used to doing the work. I was doing something that was profound and I didn't know it. And I thought it was a fail. I said to him, he said, okay, when you do XYZ, what's your conversion rate? I gave the conversion rate. He almost fell off his chair. I thought it was so low.
Yeah.
I was going to give up. Like, okay, I guess I tried this and it didn't work. He said, that is unheard of. Mm-hmm. So him simply saying, double down on that, like beyond 10x.
Yeah.
In the history of my career, I had a month that I thought was really, really great. And it included a Black Friday month. Okay. Mm-hmm. On a regular month, I like quadrupled what I did on my best month of my whole 10 years. All because of something so simple. Somebody had the insight to say, that percent is very high.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's not even anything that's like crazy profound. It could
Yeah.
be the smallest thing, like with my coaching, it might be as simple as you're responding in a way that's very dry and nobody can tell your personality. That might be
Yeah.
why. And you change that one thing, and whoa, the men were there. They just were leaving because they were like, "Hello, is this thing on?"
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that when you work with a professional who has the expertise, and that professional can be hairstylist, that professional could be therapist, this is not only limited to coaching. So I don't want y'all coming in, oh gosh, you're talking about coaching again. Any expert that you work in or work with can have that one thing that can transform the way that you do something. I remember learning how to drive at 21, which I know that sounds kind of old, but I'm in New York City, so be proud. All right, we ain't got to drive around here. And we have to learn, we have on our test, we have to do parallel parking, which I know in other states you don't necessarily have to do that because y'all always got parking lots. We got to learn how to parallel park, right? And
Parallel.
so simply the driver telling me, measure your mirror to their mirror first. The littlest thing could be the thing that turns your whole situation around.
You share that
And you
with
might
him.
be like, oh gosh, I paid all this money for lessons. But that was the thing that was holding you back. That was the thing that was stopping you from getting the result. That was the thing that was stopping your edges from coming back in. That was the thing that was stopping your skin from glowing. That was the thing that was, stopping you from losing the weight. That was the thing. So if we could just turn this one thing on, hey, have more protein. Hey, I need you to do a little less cardio and a little bit more strength training. That one piece of advice from that expert can be the thing that transforms your whole life.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. And this is why we invest the way that we do. So for those who are just coming in, I just want to reset the room. This is Fine Tune Fridays. Every Friday, I do a live stream with an expert in their field to talk about something that's going to fine tune a portion of your life that you recognize needs some work. Now, 6 out of 7 days a week, I'm going to talk about dating and relationships. But on Fridays, it's a little bit different. And today we have Chasing Yancey. She is a dating and relationship coach. She works with women just like me to help them to improve their dating experience, to get them in the best relationships of their lives. But specifically today, we're talking about tackling fear. And we have cases where we have folks who aren't fearful enough and have probably thrown a lot of money away and not been more strategic in choosing the right folks, vetting my professionals, and recognizing that there's a lot more work to be done after swiping my card. And then we have Yancey, who was hesitant and then finally took the leap in so many different areas of her life, where she lives. Maybe we could talk about the fiance too. I want to know if there's a little bit of a leap there, who she's now engaged to, and then also in her career and how that's had a drastic change in her life. And before I turn the microphone back over to her, if you are listening in and there is an area of your life that you have been struggling in, I don't care how minor or major it may be. If it's your credit, if it's you cleaning your house, if it's you're straightening your teeth, or if it's your love life, we implore you, whoever or whatever it is, choose someone who can help you to skip the line. Yanti just shared that her business has quadrupled by investing. Oh, sorry, that was my husband and he broke through.
I know that's right.
Hey, babe, I'm on live. I got to call you back.
As you should. And I got to get that dating tip from Alison about the parking. I got to make sure you DM me afterwards. I need to know this. I still can't parallel park after driving for 20 years.
Because you haven't been forced to.
Oh my God.
Right. And I was just about to get to that. You haven't been forced to. I think for many of us, we are not tackling our fear. We're not taking it to the next level because we're not in enough pain. Right. So you talked about, your business quadrupled and that's a game changer, but your business was all right before, right? You were, not only were you okay, but you were living comfortably. So it's like, do I really need to invest in this mentor? Do I really need to change the way that I'm doing business? I'm doing okay. I bet you if you were struggling and you were like, oh my God, I might have to go back to work. Oh my God, how am I? Right. How am I going to
this wedding? Now that we went this way, and I hear what kind of stuff my fiance wants, and I'm like, we're not going to be saving for 3 years. Like, we got to figure out a way.
We got to skip the line. We have to click in the result. And so when you're not in, like, my skin's okay. If I put on makeup and enough filters, people won't notice. Oh, if I just smile like this, People won't
Okay.
notice right? But then you also aren't showing up as your best self.
Yes.
So we got, how
Yes.
much pain are you really in? How much do you really want to transform your life? How much do you really want to get in the best relationship of your life? We got to be honest about that. But yes, back to you, Yancy. So were there any fears with your engagement, with the relationship that you're in, and how did you tackle that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't recommend this to people at all, like doing what I did. And I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit in my answer, but I really consider myself a master level vetter. It's a little phrase that I have. Um, Asking the questions, really getting a feel for people, understanding and having intuition. I don't recommend packing up and moving. I was in a situation where it worked out because where I was needing to move anyway. And so the worst case scenario would have been I move all the way to Texas and then have to make the expensive move all the way back to California. But I normally don't do that. Recommend people, just moving quickly. But I had already had a network here in Texas, but it still was
Mm.
scary. Most of my friends, most of my family is in California. And so the number of friends and contacts in Texas compared to Cali, it's like not even a comparison. And then it's like your main reason for being somewhere, being that person. That's another thing I don't recommend.
Mm.
However, the reason I did toggle between Dallas and Atlanta is there are a lot of business opportunities here that actually aren't even in California. Obviously, California is for entertainment and movie and film and all that. But Atlanta and Dallas have a lot of networking when it comes to people in my space. Shout out
Mhm.
to Kitty. Why am I thinking Kitty Rose? I was like, what is her name? I know her name in real life. Kitty Rose lives very close to me here. We've got Lateris from Dear Future Wifey. That's a friend of mine. He has a podcast and he's close by. And then same thing in Atlanta. But it was scary where I thought, God, if things don't work out, it's
Mm.
pretty much I'm just here with this limited amount of friends. So that was really scary. I'm very attached to my things. And when I had gone through the first process of going from, I don't want to sound like a braggart. We'll just say the house was nice. And
Mhm.
so that many rooms, I had to basically leave almost everything because I just wanted out. And so went into this tiny little apartment. And so I hardly had anything. So I finally started to build that back up. And then with the move, I had to get rid of almost everything again.
Mhm.
And so I just left it to a friend. That was scary. But I made the priority. I said, do I want to spend all this money on trying to move all my stuff? Or should I just start over? And I had someone gave me that advice, but it was scary because this stuff was sentimental and this and that. So I just
Mhm.
had to do my basics. So it was almost like someone moving when there's a flood. You just grab your important stuff and then
Yep.
leave. So it was scary. It was so many firsts. It was so many new things. Um, but it's been great. So I'm glad.
But you tackled that fear,
I
right?
did. It was the best decision ever. And I think that's kind of been my thing for the year. Each year, I feel like I see a theme. I'll kind of be, halfway through or towards the end, and I see this reoccurring theme. My reoccurring theme has been facing my fears and moving through my fears because
Mhm.
historically, every big blessing has been directly on the other side of a fear that shook my world.
Mm.
Every single one. Um, Even getting a tax preparer. Like I told you I'm cheap. So getting a tax preparer, but then I've learned so much money that I was leaving on the table that I could have been claiming and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's been my thing. And my guy he's the opposite because I think God puts us together with our opposites. He's the, if I can say it, balls to the wall, eyes closed, jumping out of a plane. We'll figure it on the
Mhm.
way down. And I'm the calculated, like, let's put every blueprint together. So hearing him just be like, screw it, go for it, screw it, go for it. It's helpful having
Yeah,
that person kind of like almost shove you out of the plane. You're like, no, as you fall down, you're like, oh, it's not so bad. So
absolutely.
he's been helpful, but yeah, he lives his life that way.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I mean, I don't want to come off like, oh, I've got it all figured out, right? But really, every decision that I've made, I think for the most part, has worked out in my benefit. So that's helped to build my confidence on, okay, I'm a good decision maker. And if this is something that I claim that I want, then I'm going to do it. I'm also extremely impatient. So you see how you have the patience of, I need to strategize. I have to organize. I have to consider every consideration. Right. So for me, I'm the opposite, which is not a good thing generally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impatient. And if you are impatient like me out here, then that means that you are not willing to strategize and figure it out on your own. And instead, you
That's
need to
good.
work with somebody who has figured it out already, who already has the receipts, already has the testimonials, already has the proof that what they do works, and it will work for you if you follow the system. And that was the hard part for me was,
I'm sorry.
man,
You said if. I'm sorry. What was that you said? You said if you follow
if you
follow
follow the
this.
system.
Okay.
If you show up, if you do the work, can I tell you, and I'm sure you've had this same thing too, please let me know. On my consultations, people will ask me, well, I guess they'll ask me, when hasn't this worked? Like, who has this not worked for? Or different variations of, basically, how could I mess this up? If I invest in this, how am I going to mess this up? Tell me how other people have messed this up, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them straight up, the people who don't listen to what I tell them to do, when I tell them to do it, how I tell them to do it, are the ones who mess it up. That's the answer.
Yep.
That's the answer. Just like if you're working with a physical trainer, the physical trainer is telling you what exercises to do, what you should and shouldn't be eating. And if you do the workout and then drive to McDonald's and get a Big Mac thereafter, and then the question is, oh, trainer, why didn't this work? You already have the answers. You're not listening to what you need to do, when you need to do it, how you need to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And side note, I'll say this, it's okay to backslide. My recommendations are that you are checking your dating app every day. Maybe you want to take a weekend off. Okay. But what we're not going to do is take 3 months off and say, oh no, I'm not meeting anybody and I'm not going outside. Like, you got to show up and you got to do the work and trust that the expert that you vetted. I've been watching Yancey's work. I've been checking out her content. I listened to her live streams. I've listened to the testimonials. I've seen the rings. I've seen the healthy, committed relationships, and I like her style.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
That's
right?
my biggest thing is there. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is when somebody blames the coach or the course or the work or the program, but they didn't actually do the work. I'll share this one story. I don't know, it might be bad to say this, but who cares? I'm going to do it anyway. I had someone, and I can see the progress in the course. I can see what they've done. So anyone watching, know that. And purchase my course, let's just say like on a Monday. They came to me on is that my computer? It came to me on a Thursday and claimed they had done the whole course. And I was like, it's 8+ hours. Two work days, you're telling me you spent 4 hours each. Even if you sat there binged and watched it, Alison, the amount of introspection that is required from this, I tell people, get a journal when you get the course, because you're going to be forced to sit there. It's 8 different modules. Take a week per module, because when I did it live, we literally did a week per module, and people still said it felt rushed. Because you're unpacking. It's like you're going through stuff that's mind-blowing. Really, it should take you about 16 weeks to do it. So I'm like, anybody who's sitting there and thinking that they're going to watch it like a YouTube video and they're going to have a transformation, it's just like working out. You have to start to become this person, and it takes, okay, this one thing, start to do, or like dancing. You learn one thing, maybe you learn your form, but then next week you're working on rhythm. You're not going to just suddenly turn into a ballroom dancer because you watched a video of somebody dancing.
Yeah. And I love that you said that. That's 100% accurate. I'm taking a course right now because I told you my issues. I throw money to whatever I want to solve, and that's always my answer. I'm in another course, and she has modules, and each video might be 4 or 6 minutes, and then I have to stop, take note of what she said, right? Then I may stop, and depends, do what she said. And then I need to pick it up next week, or I pick it up the next time, right? And this is not something that's fly by night. When you are learning how to change a behavior that you have been exhibiting for 20 years, for 30 years, if you are learning how to exhibit a behavior that you've never had to do, a lot of my clients, Many of them are immigrant or from the South. They don't have dating experience. Their parents told them, focus on your books, don't focus on the boys. Then they
Yeah.
may have gotten married early. Now they're divorced 20 years later. Like, what the hell is a dating app? I've never had to do this. These are brand new skills. And you think that you're just going to be able to, in one fall swoop, or you think that YouTube is the answer exclusively? There is no level of specificity that YouTube can offer, that a podcast can offer. I like to go beyond courses. I want to do one-on-one. I want you to tell me, Alison, what is your problem?
Yes.
I need you to
handle
tell
this
me.
exact scenario. Yeah.
Because what happens is many times when we listen to the generic advice, number one, sometimes it feeds the fear, because now I thought I had an answer, but I don't. Yancey is giving advice to the moms, like, well, I'm not a mom. Does that really work for me? I don't know if that's going to fit. Right? Yancey is giving advice to the divorcees. Well, I've never been divorced, never been married. Is cut the crap. You find the expert that has the answer. You binge their stuff so you're confident that they can give you the result that you desire, and you schedule the call. You click the link. And again, this is not an opportunity for you to say, work with Alison, work with Yancey. This is work with yourself. What is it that you are struggling with in your life? And I want you to make a decision today. Let me tell. I got a story for you. Okay. 2 days ago, I was on a consultation call, and I think the lady hung up on me. This has never happened in 5.5 years. I don't know if she lost service. I don't know if her phone died. I texted her after, and I didn't see if it was delivered. I didn't check immediately. I checked hours later. It was delivered, and she didn't respond. Okay. So she got on the call with me. I work with single women, right? And I'm on the call with her, and I realized that she's not single. She's stuck. She's in a situationship. She doesn't know where to go. So I immediately recognized that my program is an inappropriate match. But I'm not the type who's going to say, sorry, this ain't for you, and hang up. We're on the phone. I'm going to coach you anyway, right? So we're going to talk about what are we going to do about this situationship. So I asked her on the beginning, I said, hey, I know you scheduled a call, but are you familiar with my content? Have you seen me? You know me? Yes. I need to know that because I'm a little rough around the edges. I don't know if you've grabbed that, right? So before I talk, I want to know that you know that this is not an attack on you and this is just Alison. All right, good. She said yes. I asked permission again. Can I speak to you frankly, right? As I'm speaking to her, she says, yeah, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to talk to him in the new year. In the new year? This was like I'm looking at my calendar. This was like the 19th, 2 days ago. I said, we're going to wait 6 weeks to have a conversation with this man. You're going to get off this call with me, and you're going to get on the phone with him right now, and you're going to get the clarity that you need so we can decide whether or not you're moving forward in a committed relationship or not. As soon as I said that, call ended. So again, I don't know if you're out there, Miss Ma'am. I don't know if it just dropped. You didn't text me back, so I assume that you hung up. But sometimes people need to hear the reality of the situation. We're not waiting until an arbitrary January 1st.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to us today and say, I am deciding right now that I am going to work on my weight. I'm going to work on keeping my house organized. I'm going to work on getting into therapy to work out my traumas. I'm going to work on my love life. And clearly, I don't have the answer, Sway. So I'm going to find the right person who's going to get me to the end result because I'm impatient like Alison and I want to skip the line.
And be okay with being uncomfortable, because when you were saying that story, what I thought about was we're about to go into holidays. We're about to have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Yep.
And for single people, I'll speak for myself, holidays are brutal. Holidays are an in-your-face reminder that you are single. And I struggled with it, even as a dating coach. So it's probably that she didn't want to, I'm guessing, she didn't want to deal with the holidays alone. And in her mind, it's better to not know, face the truth, so that I could at least have this facade for the time being. But the sad thing is that she might have robbed herself of a few months with the right man.
Yeah.
I had a situationship and it was enjoyable until it wasn't. He didn't do anything wrong, but we know how long it takes a man to get off the pot, and he wasn't okay, but he was still sitting on the pot. So I had to make that decision. I said, I gotta go. And I did it tearfully because you bond with that person. 2 weeks later, I met my fiance. 2 weeks later. And so that's the thing. It's like, I believe, I talked about being a follower of Christ at the beginning. But I really think that I believe in the spirit world, because the spirit realm, the Bible talks about it, and the enemy is literally crafty. And I could see him almost like, I know Alison is about to walk in this really big blessing. Okay, Yancy is about to have a life-changing event. Let me see what I can do to throw a curveball her way. And and so it's like, and he uses fear. That's why I would say, when you pick up on fear, you can, it's almost like seeing little muddy footprints. He's been here, because God doesn't work. He doesn't use fear as a tactic. He'll kind of just lead you and nudge you. But if you have fear, like crippling fear, that's usually a sign that his hands are on it. And so usually when there's something that's just like, seems like everything is going amiss and you just are so terrified, there's usually something really amazing on the other side. And that's speaking from personal experience. So unfortunately for her, who knows who she would have met, possibly, or just what transformation she could have had internally. Because sometimes it doesn't manifest immediately in a relationship. Sometimes my God, one girl said, the person I needed to meet was myself. I didn't realize I had neglected me. And now I'm in this season of like, wow, learning who I am and all that. And that's beautiful too.
Yeah. Similar to your story, about 2 weeks after you ended that situationship is when you met your fiance. I was in a relationship for 4 years that had no growth. Where's the house? Where's the engagement? Where's the baby? Where's the wedding? Where's the savings account? Had no growth. It was like we were still in high school, right? We're going on dates. Whoop-de-doo, right? We're 30 years old. Let's move on. 4 years of nothing. Once I ended that relationship, I got back into the dating scene. The next man that I dated was my husband. The next one. Because and he was in my life since I was like 17 years old, which means, in theory, we don't know. We went right. In theory, maybe I could have ended it earlier and moved this thing along. We are wasting time with people many times that are just not bad people, but inappropriate matches. They just don't want what you want. And you have to do something different to get a different result. I want to end this live stream with a line that you said to me when we were talking in the DMs, and I want you to expand on it if you can a bit, where you said something, when people are afraid to invest, but they don't realize that with or without the investment, they're in the same place.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so can you explain that a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up there.
So I was on a live stream and I was sharing information, and this is what's so wild to me. So my formula is, I let them know at the beginning, hey, I'm going to share some stuff. It's like a Costco sampling, but just like a Costco sampling, they're like, if you like this, you can get it on aisle 7. So I say, hey, I'm going to give you a sampling for my course. Those who want it at the end, I'll tell you where you can get it. So I do my sampling. I ask, hey, was this helpful? Yes, is across the board. Okay, here's what my course covers. Here are the modules. Do you think this curriculum would help you? Absolutely. And then I say, okay. And then those who want the course, they get the course. And then I always get people sticking around. There'll be like 200 people just sticking around. I'm like, well, the live's ended. Like, how can I help you? So then I started asking, how many of you who are still here want the course, but for some reason, fear is holding you back? And they'll put the little hand emojis up. I said, okay. So I asked one lady, I said, I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but I'm curious, like what particular flavor of fear is he using for you? She said, I'm afraid that I might not meet someone, or I might be single or something like that, still be single. And I said, just to confirm, you're single now, right? Like, yes. I said, so you're saying you're not going to take a chance on possibly becoming the better version of yourself, which will attract better men for you, because you are afraid you might end up where you are right now. I was like, but you're already there. It's not like if I do this, it might be worse off. If I rip this out, my plumbing might start leaking, or if I, move to another country, I don't have access to, like, you're already there. You're already in your worst case scenario.
Right.
So it's like, at this point, it's a no-brainer, but that's how fear works. It's not rational a lot of times. It's really not rational. And then even when you come down to like the finances part, the people that we talk to, these are women who are established with their businesses. They've got their houses, they've got their cars, but they choose to spend their discretionary income on what they choose to spend it on.
Right.
But their minds will say, I don't have discretionary income. But sometimes it's as simple as DoorDash. DoorDash marks their stuff up crazy. You might be getting some Cheetos and a Dr. Pepper and end up paying $48 once you
Yep.
added all the delivery fees and all this stuff. You do 3-4 of those, you could have done the thing that you probably said that you couldn't afford to do.
Girl, as we talked on, I know I said that was going to be the last point, but you're triggering me. You know that I'm a little fresh, I'm a little rough around the edges, and when I have like a freebie, like a free training, and someone puts the keyword, a DM opens up, right? And then so for fun, sometimes if I have some downtime, I'll scroll back to see how long that me and that person have been engaging. And if it's like 2 or 3 years, I send them a personalized voice note. And I kindly tell them, I said, girl, if you would have clicked the link I sent you 3 years ago, you could have been married by now. That is literally the line that I use. If you would have done what I told you to do August 27, 2023, we wouldn't be here. Now, again, they know me. So, they know that this is a loving way that I'm putting this. I wouldn't say this to a stranger.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got to do something different. We got to do something different. And I agree. Like I work with busy professional women. You work with established women. Like this isn't something where we're saying, I want you to sell your toes. We want you to drive DoorDash.
Right.
Like, no, this is, I'm established in my life. I'm fulfilled in every other area of my life except for this. But you find the money to go on that girl's trip though. And then complain on the girl's trip about how you want a vacation. No, you don't. Because you're not willing to do something different to get a different result. And that's okay. But don't lie to me, so I don't lie to you. Right? On that note, are there any final thoughts that you want to share with us, Yancy?
I would just say pay attention where there's fear and see if you could figure out what you are afraid of. Because a lot of times the risks are not really even risks at all. If you've done your due diligence and vetting, like you said, I'd follow this guy forever. I was actually gifted one of his courses and from a friend of mine, and it literally was the thing that really started making my business profitable. Went from just someone making content, so it was a no-brainer for me. Like I've been doing the binging on his free stuff. It's still helping me. And so once you've done your research, but I strongly recommend it as somebody who finally caved and got some help. I really wish I had done it sooner. And that's what almost all of my content course clients have said. Why didn't someone tell me this sooner? I did, or it's a combination of that, or, oh my God, I was the problem. I was the problem. And so now if I fix this now, I'm going to be able to get into a relationship. And then a lot of them end up getting in relationships because of that. So I would just say, notice where there's fear. Don't just experience the fear, actually notice it, like be vigilant, like you're a security guard pacing the building, but notice when there's fear and then look into that because there's something deeper than there. That's something that's usually the door that is to your blessing and walk through.
I love that. We're going to end there. Thank you so much for joining us. For everyone who is on this live stream and you're coming in through my page, I am aligned with Alison. This is Chasing Yancy. Make sure that you follow us. There's many opportunities to do so. If you're watching on Instagram, there should be like a little triangle drop down that you can click on that you'll have access to both of our pages. If you're following on YouTube, I think it says Aligned with Alison and Chasing Yancy. I think so. Then you'll be able to see both of our pages as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I will see you back on YouTube Mondays and Wednesdays, and then specifically around dating and relationships, and then Fine Tune Fridays, 12 noon Eastern. Thanks, folks. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.